Welcome to Dreams Modified but Not Deterred. My name is Judith. Thank you for watching my channel, and for those of you that has subscribed, thank you. I hope my channel thus far has been inspiring, thought-provoking, or just fun to watch. Today I'm going to talk about FOMO. Yes, we all experience FOMO at some point through our lives, several times for the day, several times for the year, in different scenarios. So FOMO is the feeling of apprehension that you're either not in the know or is missing out on something fun. That can be an event, that can be an experience, that can be knowledge of pertinent information. And so many times we have that feeling of sadness or that feeling of not fitting in because of FOMO, the fear of not being a part of something. So basically, the fear of missing out. This may be maybe your friends were invited to a party that you weren't invited to, but somehow someone might have came across a conversation and say, "Hey, so are you going to so and so party?" And you might look at it like, "Wow, I thought we were friends, but I was never invited." So that makes you feel sad. That makes you feel like you need to question your relationship with that person. That means you're experiencing FOMO. Or maybe you're just browsing the internet and you saw a video of someone experiencing skydiving, or maybe going to a fascinating trip. And it makes you question your capabilities of being able to afford enjoying such experience. That may be FOMO. Or maybe it's that advertisement that says, oh, 50% off next week, Tuesday, on that particular brand that you like, or maybe not even like, but the fact that there's a sale, it plays on your emotions. And so, again, FOMO, you experience FOMO. The effects of allowing FOMO to affect you can cause you to feel less about yourself, can cause you to go into debt, can cause you unneeded negative emotions that is really not necessary. So, first, let's talk about the examples of experiencing FOMO, the different scenarios. So, let's use three examples. The first example is maybe at your workplace, you feel like you have a particular work relationship with a group of people. It's the weekend. They all hang out on the weekend. You go back to work on Monday. They're all talking about how they went somewhere on the weekend, but you weren't invited. Your assumption sometimes is to think that maybe I don't fit in, that's why they didn't invite you. But sometimes you have to give people the benefit of doubt. Were you not invited because maybe they thought that you wouldn't have the time to go? Maybe they realized you have different obligation. Were you not invited because they thought that the event that they had in mind you would not necessarily enjoy? Many times the emotions that comes out first is the emotion of negativity, and that brings on unneeded stress in your life. So yes, they are having fun. Yes, you weren't invited. And yes, you might be missing out on something that you had hoped to be a part of. The second example or scenario is not being invited to all family gatherings. Again, it is important to have human connection, but sometimes you have to also think about the person who is hosting that family gathering. There are times when family gatherings are being held and people might not necessarily have the finances to cater for all members of their extended family. So they might have to narrow down their invitation to a smaller group. It is not that they don't necessarily want to invite you, it's just that they have narrowed their group down for specific reasons. Many times finances are involved, and they want to be able to cater comfortably to the group that they have extended the invitation to. Or maybe they're planning on doing it next year, just with a different group. So don't always think that invitation has not been extended to you because of something to do with your personality or something to do with you as an individual. Sometimes it's based on the person. Sometimes it's based on certain factors in how that person approaches extending invitation to someone else. The third scenario is as it relates to careers, the option for growth in an organization, the opportunity to go back to school. And yes, I do talk a lot about the opportunities that is accessible to many people and they're not aware of it. So yes, you might see someone post something online, they graduated, they had their wonderful graduation party, they got elevated in their organization. Maybe you were not invited, right? Or maybe the experience of being able to go back to school, the experience of being able to grow within an organization, you have not had that opportunity. So again, you experience FOMO, the fear of missing out, right? The fear of missing out on that particular experience. But what I want you to do is to take a pause and understand that sometimes you are judging 1 second or 5 second or 5 minutes of someone's lives without seeing all the other times in their lives that they suffered, all the other times in their life that they sacrificed, all the other time in their lives that they just kept on going when they didn't want to keep going. Everything takes sacrifice. Every single thing in life, you have to make a choice. You have to make a choice whether or not you're going to be happy. You have to make a choice whether or not you're going to stay committed to the path that you have started on. Now, there are factors that you have no control of that will impact you. It's just to have a sense of awareness and how you deal with those negative emotions and how you self talk, self preserve those possibilities within you. So, again, yes, you're missing out on the opportunity to experience growth in your life or growth in an organization. But what can you do? What can you do in that moment? Not every trend, not every invitation, not every advice is for you. And that's okay because we're all walking a different path, a different journey in this life. Own your journey. I always say good company result in good habits and good results. Be aware of that. Doing the right thing usually leads to the right result. So how do you deal with FOMO? Sometimes you have to stay offline. So if you are one of those people that's always on social media, sometimes you have to take a break from social media. Sometimes you have to unplug, not just because it's New Year's and you want to make New Year's resolution, but periodically throughout the year, you have to take a pause and an inventory of your life, your emotions, the people around you, the things you do, and sometimes you have to take a pause. Maybe it's going to McDonald's on a Friday just to get French fries and a Oreo frappe or something. Maybe instead of going every Friday, go once a month or twice a month, or substitute that with something else that gives you some sense of accomplishment, some sense of comfort. Because FOMO is real. And as long as you're a human, I believe we're all going to experience that sense of fear of missing out. But it becomes negative when you succumb yourself to a situation just to fit in, just to fit into the experience, just to fit into the company. There are many people today who are living experiences or situations based on the results of a decision they had made in the past because of the fear of missing out. There are many people that have experienced maybe teenage pregnancy, or someone who maybe made the wrong decision that changed the trajectory of their lives, because in that moment there was a fear of missing out, so they did something that in their right mind they would not have chosen to do, but they wanted to prove that they were a part of that particular crowd, that particular group, that particular trend, whatever it is. So take a pause. Take a pause and think about who you are. Take a pause and think about why you experience those emotions of feeling like you're missing out. Take a pause. Because what you have to understand is everyone walks a different path, like I've said before, and everyone is experiencing some sense of accomplishment, trials, tribulations, growth. But what is different is the level of each. So on the outside, things may look perfect based on the scenario or the circumstances or the show or the outlook of what someone wants to display. But everyone is experiencing something. You're not alone. There's always going to be somebody who is more beautiful. There's always going to be someone who is more smart. There's always going to be someone that is richer. There's always going to be someone that is more brave and courageous. There's always going to be someone. But what we sometimes fail to understand is you're not the worst. There is someone worse off than you that's in a far worse circumstances. And sometimes we focus so much on where we want to go without reflecting on where we have been or could have been. Faith moves mountain. Tap into that faith. Believe that God has a purpose for you. So sometimes we're so concerned with, I want to do great things. I want God to bless me to do great things. God wants to do great things through you so he can have the glory. God wants to do great things so he can have the glory. Your trials, your tribulation, the things you've had to overcome, you have a story. Are you encouraging anyone? Are you sharing those experiences? Many times we get so consumed by the outward appearance, by shame, by the desire to be perfect. But have you overcame anything that you think might encourage someone else? Because trust and believe. You are going to meet someone who is walking a similar path, who is experiencing something that you have experienced, and sharing how you overcame, sharing how you were in the valley is going to help motivate and inspire that person to maybe find God, or to find passion, or to find purpose. We all want a testimony. We all want a great story to share. But in those situations, in those journeys, the final outcome might not be favorable. Will you still share your testimony? Maybe God hasn't allowed you to get out of the valley. Maybe he has not allowed you to get out of that pain you're feeling. But he's walking with you through that difficult time. There's purpose within you. There's something that he is working on. There's something in you that he's trying to bring forth so that he can have the glory. So when you experience FOMO, the fear of fitting in, remember, God created you as a unique being. you have purpose, you're positioned, and you can inspire someone. You can create your own space so that people will want to be around you, so that people are impacted by you, so that your presence motivate people. So for those moments that you feel like you have missed out because you maybe have not been invited, it's okay. When it's your time to be invited, you have a choice. And when you take that choice, be sure that your presence makes a difference by accepting that invitation. Don't give up on your dreams. Don't allow outward behaviors, don't allow your desire to fit into a certain space to diminish the true core of who you are. Be aware of those negative emotions that you feel because they're normal. We all feel those emotions. It's just important not to dwell there because what it seems like today is not necessarily what it will be in many years from now. So that very life that you watch and it looks like it's perfect, remember, they put some work into it. Whatever it is that they did, they put some work into it. Will you put some work into it? Will you sacrifice not partying and going to school? Will you sacrifice not staying up, swiping, and come up with an idea? Will you sacrifice going down on your knees and praying and seeking the face of God? Will you sacrifice not allowing your emotions to get the best of you, but instead tap into faith? Self talk. Tell yourself, I'm beautiful. I'm smart. Yes, I have imperfections, but who doesn't? I can perfect the physical, but when I look into the mirror, I shall see my own soul. I shall see the depth of my thoughts. Can you work on those inward feelings and emotions day by day by day? Mental health is important. It may be taboo in certain cultures, but we're living in a time where we're so bombarded by outward triggers. We can't escape that. And so it's also important for parents to understand that depending on the culture you were brought up in, it's very different now. We're different people. I'm different than my siblings, I'm different than my parents, but we have a lot of similarities. But the way we show up each day is important. The way we overcome our obstacles is important. Stay focused. Be aware of those negative emotions that you feel when you have a sense of not fitting in, sadness, not being invited to a party or invited to an experience. Be aware of those emotions. And then tap into the strength within you that, yes, they're having fun over there, but it's okay. Your time will come. Longevity is a great thing. And not every experience is meant for you. We're all on a different path in life and we'll walk them in different ways. How will you walk yours? How will you show up? Are you aware that someone is watching you? In the same breath that you are thinking about missing out on an opportunity, there is someone else that is watching your walk, that you're set apart, that your choices are different. Are you aware that someone might be looking at you and saying, wow, how does she do that? How does he do that? Man, be aware of your positive and negative emotions, but stand in your truth, stand in your purpose, And remember, you don't have to deter your dreams. You can modify them for the greater good.